Hello and welcome. My name is Martin, and this is the Blueprint Podcast brought to you by Bench. At the Blueprint Podcast, we talk about how AI will impact engineering teams and how it is doing so already. Our goal is to democratize practical AI knowledge to enable ambitious teams to thrive in this new paradigm. Today, my guest is Ashraf, the design engineering manager at Toothsure. Ashraf, how are you doing today?
Nice talking to you, Martin. Thanks for inviting me today at Blueprint Podcast. Hope we have a nice talk about AI and engineering.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's dig right in. So, tell us a bit more about your current role at Toothsure briefly, and then we're going to dig right in into the AI topics.
Perfect. So Toothsure is a startup in Kentucky, United States, specialized in oral care products, usually products and solutions in the oral care. I am the mechanical engineering lead who is specialized in the product development and design engineering.
Awesome. Great to hear. Cool. Let's dig into the AI topics then. Tell me a bit more about your current most frustrating tasks that kind of have to be done manually that you feel like should be automated soon in the AI paradigm.
Okay, so I think the tasks that are kind of repetitive tasks, like for example, drawing, engineering drawing, partly simulation tasks. I think most of these tasks can be automated, and consequently AI can take over and can be taking these tasks instead of a human being actually applying them. So generally any task that is repetitive and that is hectic, I think AI can take over on this aspect.
And what do you think is the main blocker to this happening? Why has it not happened fully already?
Well, internally, or are we talking generally in the industry?
Let's take both approaches. So let's say internally in a company to company basis, what's the blockers to getting that applied, and also on a macro scale in the industry, are the models still good enough? Are the applications still good enough? What's missing?
Okay, I think internally, something regarding the return on investment with the AI tools that are available in the market. That is maybe one of the blocks that is not allowing a full upscaling of AI tools in the industry, or in our case. I would say generally in the industry of new product development or mechanical engineering, because I'm not an AI expert, I cannot talk on the general aspect. I would say privacy issues are one of the things that are not allowing a full scale adopting of AI tools. Legacy tools that are being used in the engineering companies, the old guards usually in every company are going to be the ones who are going to oppose any change. So yeah, I think these are mostly the things that are stopping the adoption of AI on a larger scale in the industry.
How are you thinking about the data privacy issue with AI? Because kind of when we talk to clients, what
Mhm.
we hear oftentimes is that they don't really know how to handle kind of data privacy with AI yet.
Mhm.
They know they will have to get there somehow. They know that they have to apply AI, but they don't know how to get it quite. That's kind of the most common kind of statements we hear.
Well, here's the thing. Again, I'm not an AI expert, but I'm going to talk from my experience as an AI user in the mechanical engineering field. Um, every tool provider, for example, let's take ChatGPT as an example. Whatever you share with ChatGPT is going to be uploaded on their clouds. Maybe now they are mentioning in their privacy policy that they are not using your data for training the model, but maybe later on, like Facebook and like all the social media platforms, they will have to get into that point that at some point in the future they will have to actually use your data to train the model, to increase its efficiency, to allow more, to allow a better model. And that might be actually happening by a very tiny update in the privacy policy. That is a 20-page privacy policy, and you just accept it and allow your data to be shared somehow. This is another thing, is that people don't actually understand how the privacy policy work. and okay, so it's gonna make me reluctant to uh, share the data of my company or share the details of my work on a platform that maybe I might be finding the details of my work shared with someone else later on, and and all the projects that I'm working on are actually being leaked. So this is a privacy issue, and I think it's something that needs to be addressed uh, by the industry leaders.
And I know you've worked with AI tools in the past, and you've explored quite a few. What made you comfortable to use them and to apply them in your work?
Okay, so I have already been involved with several AI tools. I would say one of them is the AI tool that everybody almost has been using recently, which is ChatGPT and Gemini AI. They're not engineering specialized, but they are kind of providing an overall helping hand in many tasks that anybody who's working can use them. One of the tools that I've also used was Leo AI, a very nice tool that is helping in designing, engineering, concept building, documentation. I have came across Bench AI is a very beautiful solution for automation and engineering simulation automation. You can actually have a workflow that is controlled and that is managed automatically, AI driven. Something that I think is a game changer in the industry as well. I have seen, but I haven't tried Colab. I have seen Draft Aid, so I am actually educating myself, and I am getting into all these tools, trying to learn how they work. So the thing is, you just need to roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty and start learning about these tools and see how you can use them in your favor. Which one I would say you can start with? You can start with generally ChatGPT. Learn how to interact with it. It will add up to you and take it from there.
Awesome. I love to hear that. And I think that's kind of trying all these tools and kind of being able to kind of give your opinion on all of them is the way to go in this era. Um, what do you see now kind of with your fellow engineers? Do you see your fellow engineers, whether other managers or other leaders or kind of individual contributors, do you see them kind of having the same approach as you and wanting to try all these tools and kind of welcoming them into their workflow? Or do you see them being reluctant and kind of almost rejecting them, because we've seen that sometimes in software, even where some software engineers have really gone deep on AI coding, and some are still reluctant, and some don't want to really touch it, and we're seeing a rift and kind of appear between them in terms of their
Mhm.
productivity and output. Often, what do you see in the world of mechanical engineering?
There are two types. Let's say there are two sides of the story. There are engineers who usually work for bigger organizations, big companies. It's not that easy to create a radical change in the workflow and the system by implementing AI in certain areas or by sharing the data on a third party platform. So maybe in this kind of companies, things are a little bit slower. Uh, from my experience, startups and medium companies, small companies, smaller teams usually are more adaptive, faster to include AI in their workflows. Like Toothsure, for example, we have been including AI in our workflow since day one. Actually, it was one of the cornerstones that built this startup, implementing AI in everything in our workflow, from the concept building until the point that we analyze the market feedback on our product using AI. So I believe it depends on the company size and the culture of the company.
And on an individual level, do you see engineers kind of rejecting AI? Do you see engineers, managers thinking that AI can never do any part of my job because it can? That's a statement I've heard a couple of times from different industries.
Well, I see that generally speaking, the industry is already adopting AI in their workflows. Generally speaking, statistically speaking, there is an increased level of AI adoption in every industry. We cannot deny that. But let's speak from my experience as mechanical engineering industry. I would say that some peer engineers, level of managers, or maybe a level of senior engineers, or even junior engineers, are a little, um, I wouldn't say afraid, but they are concerned about AI involvement in their process, and they're afraid that it might take over. Eventually, I'm gonna be off the hook. I'm not gonna be working, and I'm gonna be losing my job soon. The thing is, I believe AI is nothing more than an augmentation tool. If you are a great engineer, it's gonna triple, or let's say 10x your abilities in your career. And if your task or if your work is something repetitive and something that can be automated, but in this situation you're not actually an engineer, in that case, I think AI can seriously replace you. So I would quote Elon Musk statement on this part, and I would say there are three types of jobs. It's a physical job. Let's say the welders or mechanics and plumbers. We are talking about at least 10, 20 years unless you find these people being replaced by AI, or in this situation by robots. We have the second aspect is the digital work. In my case, for example, an engineer who does nothing but CAD drawing, or let's say drafting engineering drawings of an existing CAD model. If this is only what you're doing, coding, for example, AI is going to definitely replace what you're doing, and it's going to do it 10x better, if not more. If your job is mental, and this is a point that I would like to add, that is my own takeaway. If your job is mental, you are a manager, you are a decision maker, you are a team leader. These skills would never be replaced by AI. AI can never take over an engineer, a new product development manager that is managing a product from concept to market. It can never do that. It will never be able to do that. Even when we reach the point of artificial intelligence, general artificial intelligence, I would say I'm not seeing that happening, at least in our time life, So yeah, things are not that bad as engineers see them.
That's interesting. So, our vision here at Bench is to essentially automate all the non-R&D, non-innovation tasks that engineers do, and
Mhm.
essentially automate the execution of the engineering work. And our vision is to have engineers spend more time on the R&D, the innovation, the the things that really we as engineers have learned, studied at the university, the things that we got into engineering to do. Do
Mhm.
you think that's the future of engineering? Do you think that's there's different outcomes you can have in AI in general. Do you think that's a good outcome? Is to have engineers essentially focus on innovation and leave the execution to AI and agents?
100%. I would say if me as an engineer, for example, have the capacity to do all these repetitive tasks, all these annoying little details, but I have now an assistant who is doing all this for me automatically, and just my job is going to be only on the decision making, the thinking, the brainstorming with my team members, coming up with ideas, testing them. If that's going to limit my work to what actually matters, definitely is gonna drive the whole industry forward. So yeah, I can see that AI is generally positively affecting our industry, and yes, the future of this is gonna be something really good. But we have to ride the wave. If we see that AI is taking its stance, and it's actually being involved in the process, we cannot just refuse it and be reluctant about it. We have to jump in, whether we like it or not. It's coming, so let's take a step. That's how I would say to every one of my peers of engineers.
Hypothetically, if you
Hmm,
had this AI assistant that kind of automates the boring parts of engineering in Toothsure today with your team,
hmm.
how do you think your team would change in the sense that how would your day-to-day change? How would your output as a company change? How would the quality of your products change? How would that impact the whole system?
Well, I would say Usually the workflow that we have is very lean, is an agile, adaptive workflow. So, and we already are applying AI in our day-to-day activities. Yet, let's say if we have an automation or an advanced tool capability that allows us to automate most of our workflow, I think this might cut down the development time by something around 30%, by allowing something that is usually overlooked, that AI could help teach the junior engineers some stuff, teach them some workflows, uh, steps, teach them some actual dirty work execution details. So if we take that into consideration, the engineers that I'm working with, for example, is going to get developed, is going to get improved, uh, at least on that aspect. And consequently, the development time of my work is going to be cut down by that 30 to 40% as an estimation.
Very interesting. And if you could wave a magic wand right now and
Mm,
automate one part of your workflow at Toothsure,
mm.
what would you pick? What would drive the most value?
I would say automating the step where we get execution files and the files, or let's say the engineering drawings and execution files for manufacturing. If there is a way to have the engineering team completely forget about this task, well, apart from the end where you have to be the audit in the loop human, which is something that you always have to use in AI. But apart from that, if the engineering team can actually do without these tasks, it's gonna save up a lot of time, at least in our situation.
And have you seen any of the current tools deliver that value?
Well, there are tools in the market. We haven't tested them yet. We are actually targeting a future collaboration with Bench, and we are checking. We have been using Gleo AI, as I mentioned, and we are using other tools. But we are learning. There's a learning curve for AI, so we are already allowing ourselves to explore and learn different platforms and see what fits our situation and take it from there. There is always a chance to learn something new and to apply um, whatever the tool provides you in your process.
Awesome. Very cool. And I guess we're kind of heading to the end of the episode, but I'm curious to see if you were to advise, let's say we have a listener now who's now starting to consider AI and to kind of really kind of get to where you are now with Toothsure and be more AI forward as a company, whatever size they are. What would you advise them as a leader to leader, kind of manager to manager? What would you advise them? How would you advise them to get going? And how would you advise them to kind of any safety or any pre consideration that you would advise them to take to make this role a success?
Well, I would say first thing, you have to map your workflow in front of you. You have to understand, what do we do from the beginning till the end. This is my workflow map. This is how we start our process. This is how we end it. You have to identify the point or the step or the stage that is taking most time, or that is actually wasting a lot of time, the bottleneck in your process, and see how you can use AI to automate that step or augment your capabilities in that step so that you cut down the time or improve your performance in that step. By doing that, or by seeing the big picture, you can actually incrementally apply AI in certain aspects of the process. The way we started doing that is that we have a certain workflow for our product development cycle, which is a derivative of the NPD, or new product development, PDMA stage gate process. So in order to do that in a way that is actually suitable for our needs as a lean startup, as something agile, we had to see where can we actually make the best use of AI, starting with ChatGPT, for example. I would say something as market studies, something as secondary market research, something that is early on in the stages of product development can be very helpful in your to apply AI or to use AI in that process. In the development stages, we figured out that we can actually use AI and other tools to um, uh, improve the concept building, the illustration of concepts and ideas using AI to generate images based on sketches and ideas that we generate as a team and take it from there. So step by step, we had a learning curve and we understood how to implement it in the better way. The next step that we took was to, okay, if we want to kind of have the whole process or automate our whole workflow, at least part of it, what can we do? And we found out about Bench, for example, which is a platform that allows us to automate part of our workflow, or at least a certain design sprint cycle. So we are taking it in that aspect, step by step, implement a tool, learn iterative, adaptive approach. And we have to stop using the old school way of a very strict approach towards things, because now with the AI accelerating the development of things and accelerating how everything is moving forward, we need to match that speed. If you don't do the rev matching, the motor is going to stall. So this is my advice generally for everyone in the industry.
It's actually very interesting you mentioned the mapping of the workflow. You were actually one of the few, or actually maybe the only client we spoke to that had a full workflow map end to end of what your development process looks like. Also, I imagine this gets harder and harder the bigger the company, because then that gets into cross-departmental sectors, and then kind of that's becomes more complex naturally. But yeah, I think that's good advice. That's great advice, because once we look at a full workflow map, we know what are the most painful steps and we know where to look for solutions. Awesome. Ashraf, that's all the questions I had for today. Is there anything else you wanted to mention? Anything else you're excited about in the world of engineering, software engineering in general, currently?
Thank you, Martin. It's been very nice talking to you today. I would be very, very happy to find other experts in AI also on your platform and on your Blueprint podcast. And I would love to hear what everybody is saying. So if we have a community of engineers, of a community of experts that are actually sharing knowledge with each other, it's going to be super helpful for everyone to improve. One of the things that I would like to point out for engineers, I'm just going to highlight the last point of data, or the last thing that I'm going to say was regarding a recent research that an MIT professor, Dr. Professor Faiz Ahmed, has shared with the community. Is for now, there is a research that's going on that allows AI to learn how to perform CAD modeling by watching videos on YouTube, just like we CAD modelers watch videos and learn how to sketch, for example, a cylinder or something from scratch and perform the CAD modeling step by step. Now AI is already in the research phase with results very promising that allows CAD modeling to be actually automated. So you as a user would be sitting like we are sitting right now in front of your computer. You will allow AI to start a project based on a prompt that you have given it, and you can take over at any point while it's performing the step-by-step modeling. So why am I saying that? I'm saying that because if you are an engineer and all your skills are just CAD modeling, you don't have the knowledge, you don't have engineering skills, you better start learning some more about the knowledge and the engineering core, and do not think that engineering is just about CAD modeling. So this is a very important aspect, and it shows you the trajectory and the exponential growth that AI is having. It's something that I myself 2 years ago would say, oh, never it's going to happen that AI is going to take over a CAD model. So at least me being a SolidWorks expert or an Onshape, expert or whatsoever, that's going to preserve me some, a foot in the workplace. Actually, no, because I think in less than 2-3 years, this thing is going to be truth. And whoever is only relying on their CAD skills are gonna be in a big problem. So see things in that way, that there is a learning curve, there is an exponential growth, and you have to match it accordingly, and everything is gonna be fine.
Awesome. I think that's great advice to end on. Ashraf, thanks so much. We'll be sure to link that case, that report, or the research paper down below. And
Yep.
yeah, Ashraf, thanks again for your time, and very, very excited to see where you go with your future steps at Toothsure and potentially otherwise.
Pleasure, Martin. Thank you so much, and have a beautiful day.
Thank you.